Yay Networks.
Welcome to a brand new episode of the Fitish podcast. After a whirlwind couple of weeks, we're back home. And I'd love to say all is well, but...
You sound like your travels lately sound like a Pitbull song.
What do you mean?
Like from Paris to Miami to Mexico City, like it's all over.
It's all over for me. I'm actually really happy to be home.
Mrs. Worldwide.
Mrs. Worldwide. Yeah. It's only been maybe like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks that I've been kind of like gone. Was back for a minute, then gone again. But nothing makes you appreciate home. If you hate your house and you hate, I don't know, for me, I feel that way sometimes. Like I'm an America hater. Don't come at me for that, okay? I do. I wasn't even really planning on going there on the show.
Hey, so polemic right off the gate.
So political? No, I'm not being political. Frankly, do we not feel that America, like half the time we live here, maybe I'm an ungrateful American, okay?
America, I do not share her.
I know. Fran is trying to keep his citizenship. I think they tell you somewhere along the way, if you're granted citizenship, that you're not allowed to bash America. Because anytime I do this with Fran, because I do it a lot alone, obviously, I'm a little more PC with y'all. I mean, I'm pretty honest with you as well. But, you know, I don't get political because I don't feel that I'm knowledgeable enough, or do I care enough. I don't really care how you vote or if you're religious or not, because it doesn't affect my day to day. And, you know, we can't even have conversations like that anymore, but that's not where I'm going with this. As a parent, I think this is why this wasn't even the intention of the podcast today. We're going to talk about our travels. We're going to talk about Mexico. We're going to talk about Remy having a birthday party.
I hate America.
I know. No. Look. Let me just briefly explain.
The beautiful land of opportunity.
Whatever. Fuck it.
Where everything grows.
I know that I'm not alone in saying this. It's more about complacency kind of in where you live. And Fran, whatever. Okay, hold on. You're not going to come on this show when you and I have, for the last 2 weeks, been really seriously talking about moving out of America for all sorts of reasons. Financial.
Yeah, but not, it's
dumpster fire, school shootings everywhere.
About quality of life. One thing is like hating. Like, I don't hate America. I think it's an amazing place. It has beautiful things to offer.
Guess what? Just because we don't feel the same way, as a therapist says, doesn't make the other one wrong. Just because we don't agree doesn't make the other person wrong.
Relax. I never said you were wrong.
Look at you coming at me. Chillax.
I never said you were wrong.
Ooh, mansplaining out of the gate.
I just said that I didn't share the feeling.
You're not even letting me explain why, and I'm not even going to now. You're coming at me for my opinion, and then you're giving your opinion before I've even given mine. You're not even letting me explain my sentiment.
Go ahead.
I think that Fran and I have talked a lot about, you know, we feel overwhelmed, right? Don't you? I mean, I think sometimes we feel, and we're fortunate to have perspective of going to a different country, where he's from, where quality of life, where things are, you know, healthcare, for instance. We had a lot of real day-to-day experiences on our trip to Mexico City. And Mexico City is not a place I ever thought that I would live. But when we were there, you know, we were there for almost 2 weeks. We're really toying with the idea of, could we move here? Could we live here? Let's talk about it, right? We're on the same time zone. School's more affordable. As a mom, as a woman who works but also spends a lot of time trying to clean and cook and buy groceries, food is more affordable. Food is better quality. They don't even sell the coffee creamer that I like, because the coffee creamer that I like to put into my body is cancerous. And I can't get it anywhere else in the world except for America, because they like to kill us here in order to heal us. And we know this, right? We talk about this. And you get it. Y'all understand. I mean, it's not that I'm not trying to be ungrateful about America, but I think a lot of us go through this. Like, we pay so much money to live somewhere. You know, I have gotten totally screwed over by a tax accountant I had, right? I owe so much money in taxes. And I know that's like, yeah, Jenna, okay, you must make a lot of money to owe a lot of money. But it's like, you know, you get yourself into these situations where you go, we make money and work so hard and can barely afford to live, right? I think a lot of us, probably all of us right now, are sharing that sentiment that we all work so hard to spend so much money on childcare and healthcare. And we start to think about, is this the way we're going to live the rest of our lives? And then send a kid to school that we don't even know if they're going to, be alive every day because, Mexico, everyone's like, wow, it's so dangerous. They don't have gun violence in schools. They don't have it. Sure, there's cartel violence. It's very, specified and directed if you get into that sort of environment, but like this is not the kind of thing that happens at schools in Mexico.
But
So
I think the main difference about the violence in one country and the other is the expectation. In Mexico, it's expected and you're aware of your surroundings all the time. You're aware of what you're wearing, if you go somewhere, if you're being followed, if you like you because you know to be aware. You know that the country has that issue. But when you're here, you feel free. You feel like you can do anything.
but also here it's very random.
Yeah, so it's nothing you like in Mexico, there is a 70 to 80% chance that you can avoid any issues around you at all times.
And I want to say that to y'all too. I just want to finish my thought though. When I say I hate America, I think sometimes when you're home a lot and you're dealing with a lot of the day to day, it can be really nice to travel abroad or just to go somewhere else because you get a lot of perspective, right? It's always really nice coming home to your house, even if you've been feeling pent up or and that's really all I wanted to say is like just kind of the perspective of considering. I mean, obviously that'd be a very big move for us but we're weighing a lot of options there because I think when you have a child, you start to assess everything differently. Could I achieve a better quality of life on a day-to-day living somewhere else? Could my money go farther? And that's all. I mean, that's just the idea that Fran and I have been entertaining. But yeah, speaking about violence in Mexico, we're going to talk a lot about Mexico on our trip. That's a lot of the feedback I get from y'all is I don't go to Mexico at all. I'm different. I've been to a lot of the more American places, right? Before I met Fran, I've been to, the Puerto Vallarta and the Cabo and the vacation destinations, we should say, really all the beach towns before Francisco and I had met. And then when we met, yeah, I agree. I probably wouldn't have wanted to venture to Mexico City, even though I had always been like Mexico inland curious. I had never, but I recognize, and I still feel this way, going to Mexico City is a different beast than any of the other beach places. Because I think, as an American, especially if you're a non-Spanish speaker, you go to a Cancun or Puerto Vallarta or Cabo and you can speak English to anyone, anywhere. It feels pretty Americanized in a lot of places. And they really cater to tourism. That's the big business. Mexico City, Fran won't totally agree with me on this, and it's just my opinion, but I feel that you need a little more planning to go. I mean, if you just need kind of a list of recommendations, and it's not as English friendly, even though I think a lot of people speak English, they don't really want to. I would struggle being alone, not speaking any Spanish in Mexico City, unless I had a nice itinerary of, staying in a good hotel and kind of, I'm going to hit up all these spots and restaurants. The food scene's amazing and the weather's just ideal. But when it comes to safety, a lot of you asked me about that. I do not at all feel unsafe. And we go to a lot of more like local areas as well. Now, alone as an American with my child, not speaking Spanish. Yeah, we were in a situation, actually, I felt not unsafe, but I definitely felt like I stood out, because we were in more of a suburb of, a neighborhood that wasn't as fancy, going to a playground one day. And I looked at Fran and I was like, I feel like everyone knows that I'm not from here, But yeah, you're right about that, right? You don't wear your fancy jewelry. You don't bring designer purses. I mean, you can wear sneakers and you can dress cute, but yeah, I don't. Your mom took me to the market and was like, take off all your jewelry. And I was like, well, I have this one piercing I can't get out. She's like, well, that's fine. She's like, just don't bring anything. She yelled at me like, don't keep your phone in your back pocket. But this was a market, this market where you go to get super affordable stuff that we went for Remy's birthday, which we'll talk about. But in terms of safety, y'all, you should not feel unsafe going to Mexico any more than you would feel unsafe going to a shopping center on the weekend here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I think it's what Fran said. It's all about, you don't want to attract the wrong attention. People in Mexico, if they have a lot of money and they want to flaunt it, they have bodyguards. I mean, that's something different that you'll see. You'll see armored cars. You'll see people that are, political figures going out to eat. Bodyguards are outside smoking cigarettes. if you watch the movie Man on Fire, it's very much like that in the nice neighborhoods, you know? I think that movie it's true, but you notice, I mean, these people would be targeted, right? Because they know they have money, they know everything about the family. You as a tourist going there, walking around, eating, shopping, you're not gonna get caught up in some sort of like cartel crossfire situation. I mean, I guess unless you're in some cartel bar, you know, in the outset of the city, right? Which you would never go to. But I've never felt unsafe with you anywhere in Mexico City. If anything, I've actually felt really impressed kind of just culturally. I would highly recommend. I need to put a guide together because so many people write me about
Yeah.
going. And I do agree that you need to know where to go. But it's such a good food scene. Mexicans, especially in Mexico City, they just know how to do it when it comes to a bar scene. Like, oh, you know, the kind of, they like the long lunch, right? Like the 2 o'clock lunch, which takes some adjusting, but 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock, they'll sit there and eat and drink, and it's very family centric, and the kids are involved, or it's a business meeting, and the music is always at the right volume. They love 90s rock, which I just love. I notice it all the time when I'm there. The playlist at restaurants is always so good. Food, you know, they build the culture around entertaining and being like outside, or probably because of the weather too. It's
Yeah.
just you can eat every meal outside. There's no bugs. It's like a perfect like 65 to 70 degrees during the day. And so Fran and I, you start to romanticize that life, you know, sitting outside, eating with your kid, having a drink. There's a playground and a park across the street. You know, you're eating great food, so many different types of cuisine. It feels very European. It's not just Mexican food. So I don't know. I think there's so many stereotypes that I didn't even realize still existed because of my experience going with you. It's such a great place. And I know so many of you that follow me are Hispanic, and you always say, gosh, I haven't been home in so long, or and I recognize I'm really lucky that I'm able to go back and forth and do that. And that's not lost on me. I'm obsessed with the culture, and I'm so glad no one gives me shit about it. You know, no one's like, you're appropriating Mexican culture. I never get that once, you
No,
know?
because we don't care.
I know, but
No, because
I used to get this all the time when we did
I
that
think
TV
we
show,
are.
and I would braid my hair, and
I,
I'd have black women be like, "You're appropriating, you know, black
and
culture."
I want to ask our um, Hispanic audience. I think we are very hard to offend.
Yeah, clearly, you've said offensive things. I don't. I try not. I try not to be
No,
offensive. You
but
can
the
say
thing is
offensive
that
things, and
we
no one
are
gets upset.
we are a community that it's we're happy people. We're passionate people. We're like we're not we don't have the time because we have to fight. We have to work. We have to stand up. Um, we don't have the time to overthink what you're saying. Like
Yeah.
if you say something stupid, we just cool. Like it's not. Oh my god, she tried to offend me. Oh, what she meant by that? Like no, I need to go fucking work. I need to get move to the next thing. And I love that. I love that passion in my people. I love that passion in my culture, and not only Mexico, everybody around.
I love it. No, I've always before you, I mean, it was just a matter of time. I was just looking for my Mexican lover. Like I just love I was it was actually just a happy coincidence that day you came over to me in the bar and you were like, "Hello. What did you call me? Gina?"
China.
Gina. I was like, "Oh, this guy's interesting saying my name wrong, even though that's not even the incorrect way to pronounce my name." But I loved it. I was excited. But I've just always been really drawn to Mexican culture, really for a lot of the more kind of like family centric vibes that y'all have. I mean, it's like family comes into town, everyone stays in the house. Okay. So painting the picture, we actually stayed with Fran's parents. They live about 15 minutes from what you may consider kind of like Mexico City, those, you know, more proper neighborhoods of Mexico City. And it's just so nice. I mean, it's a lot of family. And so for me being an only child, every time I go, I always feel a little bit overwhelmed at first. Like this is going to be a lot of family and it's a lot of Spanish and my Spanish sucks still and I'm working on it. And I knew it was going to be a big birthday party, which we're going to get into. But every time we're there, I love it. But upon arrival, two of the three of us get violently ill.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And I'm going to tell you who it was because now another one of us is violently ill in this moment. But let's talk about Remy's early birthday party and what went down after we take a quick break. We'll be right back. As a mom, after traveling, nothing makes me happier than coming home and having food in the fridge, not having to go to the grocery store. I'm so happy that we got a new HelloFresh delivery to the house. Gosh, HelloFresh has just made home-cooked meals healthy, affordable, and, my favorite thing, as always, convenient. So, for us, I think we realized at some point last year, like, wow, food delivery or grocery delivery and just all of these services get so expensive. It's just too much, right? Especially when you're a parent, you have a mortgage or rent, and you're just trying to deal with everything else that's a priority. And something else that became super important to Francisco and I is just nutrition in general. I think when you're just eating for yourself and you're single, you don't care quite as much sometimes. But when you have a child, and if you're like me and you don't really gravitate towards cooking, or you just don't have a lot of recipes, hidden away, you just really look for a service that can provide that for you. And HelloFresh has solved so many problems for Francisco and I. Yes, the convenience, but also knowing we're getting great quality food and it's super affordable. So we're on a family plan right now, which has been really nice. So, we're getting 3 dinners a week for a family of 4, which is great because my mom's living with us. And the handful of things that we've made so far have been super delicious and also really, time considerate, I guess I could say, for us. Nothing has taken me more than 45 minutes to make, and we've just really enjoyed it. And if for some reason Fran's been out of town or my mom, then I have leftovers. Remy's really enjoyed it. They have this lineup of quick and easy meals, including 15-minute recipes. If you're like, 45 minutes is too much, Jenna, that's fine. These 15-minute recipes are designed to help minimize mealtime stress. And if you're a mom at home alone with a child trying to cook dinner, 15 minutes is about all you're going to be able to get sometimes. So it's just perfect. And, they say breakfast is the most important meal of the day. HelloFresh agrees, and they're giving all subscribers free breakfast for life. Breakfast is also my favorite meal of the day, so this is great news. You can enjoy a totally free breakfast item with every single HelloFresh delivery. Oh, that's right. They gave us those waffles, those Belgian waffles that come, oh my gosh, it's like as snacks, but then I realized that Remy and Fran ate them all before I could get to them. So delicious. HelloFresh will save you time. Go to HelloFresh.com/FitishFree and use the code FitishFree for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. Again, that's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/FitishFree with the code FitishFree, FitishFree. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Welcome back. Fran and I were reminiscing about the first time that we met, but yeah, let's talk about Remy's birthday party. He's actually not 2 yet. We had an early 2, but his mom, what a great opportunity. I am not, if you don't know this about me already, not big on parties. Don't want a wedding. You'll feel that way. Not because I don't want to marry Fran. It's because I just don't want
Train parted.
You're lost, man. It's
I
because
not only got the milk, I made cheese. Didn't have to buy the cow.
I can't. I'm gagging right now. I can't smell or talk about food. I am so violently ill in this moment.
Like
so that gives away who
cheese?
got sick. Stop. When you're,
Or like a cotija, like a dry cotija.
you got to stop. My mouth is like watering, when you're going to vomit and it starts doing that. And I hate throwing up so much that I just will it away. It was like, just come out the other
I
end.
have my booby shield.
When we got to Mexico, we knew that Fran's mom wanted to have a birthday party. So, of course, the birthday party turns into quite a family reunion. People coming in from out of town. His sister has since moved to Jalapa, which is like almost 5 hours away. So she was coming into town. I was really excited. I haven't seen Fran's parents in a year. It's just they've had a lot going on and haven't been able to come visit us. And, y'all get it. It's hard. Again, going back to like everything's too fucking expensive. It's just really hard for all of us and for them to kind of go back and forth. And so anyway, we knew it was going to be quite a family reunion. And day one, good. But, Remy hasn't seen his abuelos in a year. And so Fran FaceTimes with them every night. So he definitely had facial recognition. But Remy was in a mama only, papa only.
The first day he was
okay.
Amazing. No, he walked like my parents have like a huge yard, and
which makes us fall in love with moving there because, a lot of these houses are U-shaped and you like go in through a garage, and then the house, the way a lot of these houses in Mexico City are laid out I say U-shaped, maybe L-shaped, whatever it is, but you get it. Like there is a yard in the middle of the house with 65, 50 in the morning, 70 during the day. You can eat every meal outside, play outside all day. It's
so
heaven.
My parents built that house. My parents are big entertainers, and they've always been. So they built this house like with the sole thought of entertaining. So we have the main house in a side. Then in the back, there is a game room with a bar. And then there is like a little house for Remy where like a doll house where he can play inside. So he was like in Disneyland. He was running around. My brother has a big dog that it's the nicest.
I still can't say that damn dog's name.
Garota.
Garota.
It's Brazilian. Yeah. My brother used to have a Brazilian girlfriend, and he always keep souvenirs. Thankfully, that was the only souvenir that he.
So Remy was great the first day, and we thought we were in the clear because obviously y'all know you go to visit grandparents, childcare built in. You're staying in the house. I packed at least 3 cute date outfits, thinking that we would go into Polanco or Roma, and we would eat with Remy or without. Fran and I would finally get a nice date night because we had childcare. Day 2 of 10, wake up, Remy vomits all over me. Like, all right, this isn't going well. And, I guess it was later on in the day because we tried to take him to this little animal park. And I noticed when we get out of the car, his eyes were glassy. He was like trying to smile, when your child's sick. And Remy's such a good sport when he's sick. But I was like, wait, I think he's sick, Fran. And Fran's like, I don't feel very good either. So then proceed days like 2 to 5, vomiting, diarrhea. That was just Fran. No, both of them. They were so sick. And so
we tried to make the most. Every day we walked, we did try to do an activity, but he was so
y'all, it was
ill
rough.
that he was just sad. He was sad, and then he didn't want milk. We tried to we give him, this is probably too much mom info for y'all, but we don't do regular cow milk with him. And so we do the Ripple kids pea milk, which they don't have there. So I bought him almond milk instead. He didn't want it. So he didn't have a bottle. We went from 3 bottles a day at this point to no bottles, which meant all he was saying middle of the night, so hungry. Comer.
So he was so hungry wanting to eat, but now we realize he was hungry, but also he was associating his stomach pains with hunger pains, which makes sense, right? So the poor thing was so sick, and so was Fran. So that was rough, One day I left them at home and went with his mom so we could go to, I guess you call it downtown, or they were calling it El Centro, right?
Downtown.
But anyway, the market down there is amazing. I show y'all if you follow me on social media. This is where you would go to get, if you really want to venture. And his mom is a bargain hunter. She is like on her shit. She's going to go. She's going to get what she needs. This was an adventure. This took us an hour in traffic to get to. His brother was like, don't do it. It's miserable. It's not worth it. Just go to the stores around here. But, his mom was telling me,
it's an experience.
This down there is going to cost like $2, and this up here is going to cost $20. And I was like, maybe not quite the price break I was hoping for, but yeah, essentially. So the market was super cool. Don't go alone unless you're with someone that speaks Spanish. Not because I felt unsafe, just because it's really overwhelming and a lot of people.
It's a maze. Like once you get in downtown, like where where these markets are. So
I would have gotten scammed.
So it is the Zócalo, which it's National Palace and the flag and everything. And around, there's a bunch of buildings. you have to know, because in one side is all technology, in one side is all clothes, in one side is office supplies,
I'm asking y'all,
toys.
what do you want? Do you want a neon sign? Do you want some thongs and new bras? Do you need school supplies? Do you need stickers? Do you need little plastic gift bags? I mean, you name it, you can find it. She was wheeling and dealing out of the window of the car in traffic because she found the red tights that your sister wanted. They were great. They were $3. I was always asking her, for how much she was paying for it. So I went and got the largest piñata I could find, a giant dinosaur. She had already started with the dinosaur theme for the party, so I decided to roll with it, but we needed a second piñata for the adults. So I got this enormous T-Rex piñata, which fitting into the small car was that could have been a reality show. I shared a little bit of the footage. We knocked out some of his teeth. It was about $40, which was definitely the most expensive piñata in the area. But she told me that piñata would have been about $100 back, on the outskirts or in the suburbs where she lived. And obviously here in America, I've never seen a piñata like that because it was one of the plaster ones. And it would have been easily like $200 at a store here.
But those are like handmade. Like those piñatas are.
Yeah, I have a wound. I had no idea. We'll get
Well,
it.
you broke it. You got a wound breaking it. These people got a wound putting it together.
Well, I didn't know the seriousness of the piñata. I've hit a piñata before. I know it's not a big thing at every party here. I think that was something that I had to explain to everyone, that we don't do piñatas at every birthday party unless it's like a Mexican theme party here in the States. You get a piñata for fun, which I think piñatas should be more normalized. Like, it should be a thing because it's hilarious to watch drunk people or kids, which basically are little drunk people.
Yeah, on sugar.
Hitting a piñata, and the chaos that ensues when the organs are splayed out everywhere. It was so fun. But yeah, so we had a nice day at the market. We got some good stuff for the party, especially stuff to fill the piñata, stuff for the kids. I think all in, I spent about $100. $150 maybe, including lunch. I'm going to a cute spot for lunch that she had to take me to. She was like, Pancho Villa rode in. It's the oldest bar. It's been here since 1874 or whatever. And there's a bullet hole in the ceiling. And so the food was like not that great. And I know that, you kind of, it's patchy. Like there's some overpriced places there. But anyway, we got piñata stuffings and toys for the kids and party favors. So yes, so nice for the experience to go do that. And balloons, that sort of thing anyway. So so then Remy was feeling better. The birthday party was such a success. I asked for it to start a bit earlier. So it was 2:00, went until, oh man, I don't know, 3 a.m. I mean, some people were still partying until 3 a.m. I was
2,
not.
3. Like it was mild. I think the crazy started milding down like around 2 a.m.
Yeah, I knew. When Fran's sister started grabbing my boobs, I knew that the tide had turned at the party. When Fran was horrified, I was like, I love his sister. We have a great relationship. I knew she was just super drunk. But when I saw that she was like trying to kiss his brother's girlfriend and then like grabbing my boobs, I knew that Luli had had a lot to drink. And Fran was like, Luli, stop. Like I never see Fran get kind of like defensive over me like that. And I mean, it was fine. She just had a lot to drink. She has 3 kids.
Babe,
I understand.
if anybody touches your boob, I will get a little defensive,
Good. I'm glad.
And-
Except for Remy.
Except from Remy, yeah.
You got a little jealous when Remy was stuck in.
No, it was intrigued, like, I'll share anything with that boy,
So it was a good party. But yeah, just to really like address, we hired tacos. Oh my gosh, when his mom told me we'll do pizza.
So
I'm like, pizza? I mean,
this
I know pizza's fun for the Mexican kids, but like.
So growing up, we used to, we always used to go to this country club, and he was the guy that used to work in one of the restaurants of this place. And I was like, I think I was a baby when we joined, and I stopped going when I moved to Dallas. He's seen me like grow up. Like right now I'm 40 and he still looks exactly the same.
I know. People are looking great.
I don't know what type of water he's drinking, but his tacos, he makes the most delicious
And y'all
tacos.
know, I mean, just them rolling out that grill, cooking the meat, the tortillas. It's so simple, right? Like it's just so simple. The way they do tacos here, if you have like a velvet taco or things like that, I always joke with Fran. Now, I mean, not that those aren't great, but they're so Americanized. You know, they're huge and there's a lot of cheese and a lot of sauce. Tacos there are just so much more basic with meat like seasoned perfectly and cooked. You're just squeezing a bunch of lime on it. They're smaller, you know, you can eat more. Remy loved it. I mean, it was so good. I'm so glad we did that.
Yes, I absolutely love. Just a parenthesis. If or when, if we move to Mexico, I will miss velvet taco.
You order it like twice a week at night. We lay in bed and Brand's like, well, you want dinner? And I'm like, at this point, like, not really. Like, I'm not trying to eat at 10 o'clock at night. But if given the option of McDonald's or Velvet Taco, we're usually ordering tacos. But I know I'm not hating on Velvet. I was just making a comparison between like authentic Mexican tacos now that I understand the difference. But the party was great. The piñata came out. Remy doesn't totally get the gist of it, but I think he had a nice time. We gave him some of his first sugar. Like I gave him a ring pop and we'll do it, y'all. I don't know how you feel about sugar with your kids. I noticed that everyone really does sugar at some point. You're going to give in, but now every day since then, sucker. I'm like, fuck. No, because we notice like such a mood shift.
Well,
we give him fruit and we give him like waffles with syrup and stuff.
You say that. I just remember that he's at home with the weakest link.
The weakest link. My mom right now. Her name's Candy. Like he is home with Candy and we have not given her the heads up that he's going to start asking for suckers. He's going to have a
mouthful of suckers.
Well, we don't have any suckers at home, but I don't, you know, Fran and I did take a pretty hard stance on sugar.
Your mom has someone her save.
Mainly, we took a hard stance on sugar. And I've realized, you know, when you're around other parents and you realize that you're that parent, I've realized that over time when we've gone to birthday parties, watching other kids Remy's age, just like getting chocolate and eating things, because we just haven't. And I don't know why, y'all. It's not because we're those parents necessarily, but in a way, I think Fran and I recognize have had such a crippling sugar addiction my whole life, and I'm better now, but I think that him and I both really feel that sugar is kind of the devil, and we know that it's like unavoidable at some point for a kid, and we're just going to try, like, you know, raising a child's a day-to-day experience.
And there's different sugars, like any natural sugar.
He does fruit, or we'll do like honey and agave sometimes on his
sugar is just so bad for you.
We really try and stay away from, especially candy. You know, I mean, he has muffins or he'll eat stuff from Starbucks sometimes. Like we're not, you know, not that into juice. We offer it to him. He doesn't care. He likes water, which is great. He's never really liked apple juice. It's interesting. Or Gatorade. I don't know.
Just want to share this little tidbit. Like one of the cutest things that he did while he was super sick, or we both were super sick, is like he felt so thirsty because liquid was coming out of every orifice of his body. So he used to sleep with his water cup close to his chest and protect his water cup. And you can hear him like at 3 a.m. just drinking in his sleep.
With a water cup, like it's a blankie. And I didn't realize it one night. Well, that's the whole other thing, y'all, that we got into. He would not sleep in the pack and play the whole time. So do you know where he slept? In between Fran and I. Do you know the last time Fran and I have touched one another intimately? I don't know, 2 weeks ago?
Like 1980 some.
Fuck off.
Like, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks.
Literally before we left town.
Yeah.
Because he slept. I don't know how, if you co-sleep with your child, when do y'all have sex? Like, I kind of thought this trip was going to be fun for Fran and I. Like, we have grandparents watching him. Fran and I get some alone time. We can work. We can go into town. We can go on a date night. We'll sleep together, like a little bit of vacation. Absolutely not. This trip was more parenting than we parent at home. So really, this morning driving in together, I was a passenger princess. We were laughing because we were like, this is the first time I think we've been like alone together in a couple of weeks. I mean, it's fine. It was great family time. But yeah, so he actually slept in his crib last night, which we were worried how that was going to play out when we returned home. But yeah, so if you didn't already guess it by now, I'm the one really sick now.
But I think we timed our sicknesses very well.
Yeah, so they were sick. Yeah, the piñata madness was hilarious. I want to say, yeah, we did put weed gummies, scratch off tickets, Helio mixers. What else did we put in there? I think that was it in
So
the
we
adult
put some
piñata.
candy also. We had to nix the weed gummies. I had to take them out at the very last minute
Oh,
because there were
there were teenage kids that wanted
teenage
a
kids
piece of it.
that wanted to also be, and I would have hate
Oh yeah,
to have like a packet somewhere and just anyhow that could be a disaster.
yeah,
But
that's true. You got to
so
consider that. That
we
piñata business though is not for me.
it
I
was
thought it would
so
be,
much fun.
but when I got up there to hit it, I didn't realize how, when you hit what you may be thinking, I mean, a lot of you already know where I'm going with this, but like the original piñata, like the one we used for the kids, it has like paper covering over it. They're a little easier to break into as opposed to those like plaster ones. I had no idea how painful that was going to be when I started whacking it. I'm going to post our videos again. You were insane. People
Not
were
my
commenting
first
that you were
piñata.
like Zorro. You were like the Count of Monte Cristo. Like you were like one arming it in the trees. Garrett, did you see? I'm asking our producer, did you see this video? So, I'm hitting it like it's a baseball bat, like two hands, whack, whack. You're blindfolded. You've been spun. They have a full rig, right? So there is someone pulling it up and down. This is serious piñata business. Like, you're a piñata family when you have an entire area of the backyard with a rig to hoist it up and lower it up and down. So the videos I showed y'all, I didn't even show everyone else. I mean, the kids did their thing. Remy's having an issue with turn taking, but he has to learn. But then when the adult time came later at night, I mean, yeah, your sister was trashed. That was hilarious. Like she was going to get hit with the bat. She was getting in the
She
way.
was deemed to be in the hospital that
Oh
night.
my gosh. Like it was so stressful for me because y'all know I don't really drink very much. So I'm just like watching, as like everyone's, well, I guess alcohol intake went up. There was a lot of movement around the bat with people blindfolded and swinging it. And I was like, this is a disaster. I'm filming it from afar. Like, okay, I'm going to film it. I don't want to go viral on TikTok again or viral on Instagram again for this. But yeah, I didn't even share everyone's outtakes. But like, Fran, when you went, you ended up getting it. I mean, it was more like a puncture to the gut and it started spilling out. You were 12th, I think, to go. So it took 12 grown adults beating the shit out of this piñata, blindfolded, but yeah, I hurt myself. Everyone had the bloody marks on their hands. I mean, it was hardcore.
We fight for a candy.
It was so hardcore. And then everyone just tackles each other for it. I was kind of horrified.
Tell you, when I was growing up, the piñatas that we used to hit were like the normal piñata that you see like in a Disney movie, which is a round, round with spikes.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay.
The round thing was made out of clay. So every other Christmas, every other birthday party, there was a kid that needed to go to the hospital because a piece of clay hit his head and cracked his skull.
I swear, at some point I thought, is this a prank piñata?
No, it was. So my dad, when we were kids, had a strict rule, and that's when people start transitioning from clay to just newspaper. So what they did is a huge balloon with newspaper and a thick, and it was, the great thing of the clay is that it broke easier. So you would break that piñata a little quicker. But the chunks of clay flying out of that piñata were fucking
well, I guess,
scary.
yeah, blindfolded and spinning and drunk and dark. And they had a construction light, like something you would use at the end of the world, like propped up on a lawn chair to give lighting, so because it was like pitch black. I don't know. The whole thing was wild. I love it. I just I love this authentic Mexican family birthday fiesta.
From the get-go, when they built that house, they wanted to entertain. So they did have like a piñata pole just for that.
Yeah, it was so fun. And then the next day, obviously, with all the family, they were like, let's go to Fisher's. It's this fish house. So we pull up and y'all know lunches are like 3 hours long and it's not great when you have a toddler, but he did really good. I mean,
he's doing amazing.
We want him to learn how to, deal with the car and the traffic. And travel and it's a lot to get through, but I think he does better each time. So if you're hesitant to travel with your kid, don't do it. Yeah, no, I mean, really, the flying days suck. Fran handles it really well. I fucking hate it. Like the packing and the traveling logistics and all of it. It's so hard, but it's so nice to be there with family. So we had so much fun. So we had like a long lunch. And then I don't even know, we came home and then they were like, what do you want for dinner? And I'm kind of sitting there going, just got home from lunch, you know, and it was like 6:00, 7:00, but we hung out for a little bit. I don't know what happened in between. I'm kind of blocking out.
We went
and
to
then
the park.
Oh yeah, we went to the park and then we got home and then they were like, what do you want for dinner? And I'm like, I wasn't feeling good already. I was like, I don't know. But you were putting him down and they all ordered tacos. And I'm like, sure, I'll go in on that. I'll go in on the tacos, you know, and they were like, lengua? I was like, no. They were like, we're all getting lengua. We're all getting tripe. We're all getting nasty fucking shit in our tacos. And I was like, just have some like carne asada. and
Chile con carne.
chile con carne. No, I am not that American anymore. I'm good.
Oh, they're about to disown you after you said that you hate it.
Y'all, when these tacos came, first of all, you ordered a burger from your favorite spot in town. This burger comes smothered in pineapple and pineapple sauce, which is fucking nasty. Like, that is not
You
a
only
burger.
ate almost the whole thing.
I ate half of the burger and then I ate some of my tacos, which were so good. But y'all, these tacos started getting splayed out. I just see tongue, full tongue, you know, tongue on a tortilla. And I was like, this is the thing though. I love,
So good. So good.
what was her name?
Marco?
Josephine? Yeah, his wife.
Jocelyn.
Joseline. She is great. And she's like, Jenna, I don't eat some of that nasty stuff like my husband eats.
She
but they
is
all eat tongue.
Amazing.
She's so great.
They both, Marco and Jocelyn and her and their kids.
It's a lot of family time, you know. And so as an only child, it's always an adjustment for me to like be in a house with so many people because, you know, here, when you go to visit family, if they don't really have room for you, you just like stay somewhere else. You know, you stay.
Or even if they have room for you.
Even if they have room for you, you stay in a hotel, you stay in an Airbnb. Not in this family. You sleep on the ground, you sleep on the couch, you sleep all over that house, you know. But I loved it, you know, like I thought, oh my God, it's going to be a full house and I'm going to be, you know, I started to get claustrophobic, but I don't know. I really enjoy it. I mean, not permanently forever to have that many people around. I couldn't do it, but it's just
for 1 day, for 2 days, it was
4 and it was great. Yeah, no, it was great. I know I loved it. I mean, the tongues getting thrown around was a lot for me. And then, you know, and then I wake up the next morning. Not really my
like
best.
an orgy.
Tongues getting thrown around. Orgy or taco night.
Yeah. That was a taco night. No orgy was happening.
So fun. But yeah, and then the sickness took over me. We had one nice family day the next day, and then I got home and I was like, I feel super nauseous. Maybe I ate something bad. And y'all, so sick. I spent the entire last day of our trip. I could not open my eyes in bed. Like, you know, when you're nausea and vertigo. And when I tell you, I don't think I had a sip of water. I mean, I could not open my eyes without feeling like I just wanted to will the vomit away. So I was so sick and spent the whole day in bed. You had a nice day with Remy and your dad. It just sucked because we didn't get to explore.
We same, like we had the first part of the trip like sick and we tried to make the most out of it. And also like loaded with work, on calls, nonstop. So that day that you stayed in bed the whole day, I put my phone down. I pretty much put it in airplane mode, took my kid, took my dad, the
Our
third
kid.
generation, and we went and have like a nice
I don't know
day.
why it bothers me how much you say my kid. Like our kid, I mean, I worked my ass off to have that fucking kid. Like it was painful, you know what I mean? And I know you don't mean anything bad by it, but it's funny because it's like one thing that just drives me nuts when you're like, my kid, like ours.
Well,
frankly, it
the
feels a
more
little
the
more
more you
like
get,
mine.
the more you get Mexican by injection, the least things are gonna bother you when people say it like that.
Y'all had a nice day.
We
and
had a great day. Like it was just so cathartic because after all of it, spending time with my dad that I haven't had that quality time in, I can say years. Like because I go to Mexico back and forth, but I don't get to sit down and chat.
I know, and
And
I
he
get
was
that.
there, and he was very active. He was like, I didn't put a phone down, like a phone into for him to be like distracted with Leapy or any of what he likes to see. He was engaged in our conversation. The first thing we went to the Ritz, to the 40th floor bar, which is
It is the best
amazing.
kind of view you'll have ever seen in your life. You see this entire Mexico City so high up. There's mountains, there's hills. You see tons of like helicopters flying in and landing. It's so cool. It's so
So
beautiful.
Remy loves helicocos. That's how he called them.
Helicocos.
Helicocos. So I told him that I promised him that we were about to go see helicocos, and we got there. We only saw two, but it's okay.
That's a good ratio.
He gets we were walking around, and the first thing that he does, he grabs this. They had this like bowl shaped flower vases with like a little orchid. He grabs it, he thinks it's a ball, and he just threw it, and it just went everywhere. And he's like, oops,
I
I
dropped it.
broke it.
I dropped it.
I
Yeah,
broke
yeah.
it. And I just start laughing, like, don't worry about it. Like, so
That's the dad and Fran. I'd be like, Fritz, like, where's a timeout room? Like, I need to, like, he is throwing shit. He's breaking it. Does your
But
child
the thing
do
is that
this? He
that's
goes, he throws something rock hard. He will whip. I mean, I don't want him to play baseball. I hate baseball. He has such an arm. He will whip a cell phone across the plane, almost hit someone in the head, and be like, uh-oh, I dropped it. You didn't fucking drop it, dude. You threw it aggressively. You didn't drop it.
but when he said, I broke it.
I broke it. Yeah, you fucking broke it,
So
man.
I did tip the guy that had to clean the whole mess, but he is just so curious. Like,
Yeah.
that's the curiosity in him, and it was just like trying to figure out what was this thing with a flower on, and he broke it,
Yeah.
and he broke it, but he was just. I think he was also very happy
Feel better.
to feel
He's
better.
feeling better.
We had the worst traffic coming back to my parents' house. Like an hour.
Yeah, it was like 8 p.m., y'all, and I was dying in bed, and I was like, Remy's bedtime's like at least an hour or half an hour ago.
And
Yeah.
in a different setting, he would have been screaming. He would have been like, he was so chill. He was just chatting. He was just looking outside. There's a times that he used to say like, playground, and like, we will go to the play. It was such a
This
calming.
is the thing, y'all, though. You should feel better because I feel that with parenting, it's in such stages, right? And there are just moments that this starkly contrasts from our last trip to Mexico City, which was last January, where traffic in the car, granted, he wasn't even a year old yet, right? And it's like, "Rah, rah, rah." Like, I mean, he's just screaming, crying, doesn't like to be in the car seat, got car sick a few times, threw up, and I always am honest with y'all, like the travel days were about as bad as you would anticipate they could be when you have anxiety about traveling with a kid. And Fran's always, sorry, I feel like I'm gonna throw up again. Fran's always handled, it's a lot for me to get through right now. Fran's always handled it really well. Remy could be screaming on the plane and Fran's like, doesn't bother him at all. And Fran always thinks it bothers me about like other people. And I don't know what it is. I think it's just the stress, right? Like when your child's screaming, crying, you're just like, and I hate to fly, but Fran handles it well. But I just think you should be reassured that it gets better. You know what I mean? Like the next day can be better. They just develop so quickly. So if you've had a bad day, and I think you see this as a parent, like just over time, that it really does. It gets better and better over time. And sure, he has tantrums and you kind of you deal like, how are we going to discipline? How are we going to navigate this today? But I think just having him kind of experience the world and model after other people. And we want to take him places, right? Like we want to do adult things. We want to still live our life. We don't want to just be at home every day. And I think with one child, that's more attainable, anyway. But yeah, he did a lot better in the car. He's been really good because I think they learn, right? If I get in the car, we're probably going somewhere, usually, doctor, we're gonna go somewhere that's pretty cool. So
We took him to the doctor in Mexico, and
he's traumatized
he was
after
like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like,
I thought I was on vacation.
I thought we were over with the propping and poking.
Yeah, and before we finish today, as an update, because some of y'all have asked, and I realized I don't think we've gotten to give you an update. Ear tubes, super success, super expensive, really annoying.
Do them in Mexico.
In Mexico.
If you have to go through ear tubes,
We took Remy to a specialist in Mexico for something, and I asked Fran later how much it cost. And so, a specialist here, because we've done it before, whether it's like a dermatologist or an allergist, right? Going in America with really good insurance is my copay, I think, just to see a specialist was $300 plus like whatever additional charges, right? In Mexico, the specialist with no insurance, because we don't have insurance there, was $100, and she's like one of the top dermatologists in the country. And so, wow, first of all.
No, yes. And what I've said about going to Mexico, don't go to the border town. Don't do that. Go to Mexico City, go to Guadalajara, and if you want, I can give you a couple of really good contacts. Because
dentistry is a great example too. If you need a lot of dental work done, it's like half the price.
They care. Like this doctor,
and they care.
It's top 10 dermatologist in the country. She has like so many awards and shit that you make when you're a really good doctor. I don't know what it is. I don't think there are awards anyhow. But she gave us her phone
WhatsApp
number. It's like,
yeah.
If your child has any issues, here's my direct phone number. Please text me. Granted, she has a friendly relationship with my brother, and maybe that was part of it.
I'm sure, but no, it's more about
But anyway. You feel like a person. You feel like they see you as Remy Rizzo. They don't see you as patient number 3.
Yeah. Well, you never know what people are motivated by, but no, we have to wrap up. But I just wanted to give everyone an update on the ear tubes. I've gotten a lot of questions about it, and I know a lot of you have written me and been like, oh my God, it was such a game changer. And it really has been. He's been eating more. He's happier. Behavioral, not that he was bad before, but I think you notice, wow, he's like much happier and not fussy. And it's definitely because of the tubes. And the other upside is you don't have to depressurize on a plane with ear tubes. So, when you travel with a kid, they need to be kind of like having a bottle and swallowing when you're taking off. And, that alleviates all of the need for that, which was great. So I think the ear tubes have been a real great success so far for him. And I'm sure that knowing an ear tube kid, we're probably going to have to end up doing it again, every year until he's 5 years old. But it's been really great, aside from the fact that he's quite traumatized from all of the hospital experiences he's had in the last, with the allergic reaction and all of that to the medicine. So yeah, it was a rough run for us for a while. And yes, just going to see a doctor for a little skin issue, he was screaming hysterically because he just like after the catheter and the blood and all of that at the ER visit, the poor thing they remember, and he's quite traumatized from it. But the ear tubes have been a really great thing. So if you have had a child, a lot of you have told me your kid has had like 4 ear infections in a year. Like, yes, you need to find a doctor that will treat you for that, because I think it's just made a world of difference for us. And I had no idea that a lot of his problems were definitely from his ears hurting, which is terrible. So if y'all have any other questions about that or where we went or whatever, we were very happy with our provider and stuff that we had to take care of that. But yes, if y'all have any feedback or questions, info@fitish.com. We're back. We're home. We're home for a while.
Or you can DM us.
DM us.
At Jenna Page and at Francisco Rizzo _
Rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it? Is it official?
It's not official.
Official Franny Riz __.
No.
No, I'm kidding. All right. We will see y'all.
6969.
We'll see y'all next week.